I want to share an idea with you from Rav Kook. Rav Kook, probably could have a whole series on him, and the truth is, I think you could probably find a lot of stuff, on YouTube or wherever, about who Rav Kook was. But I want to share with you a piece that he wrote, published in his probably most famous work, Orot, which is really a compilation of many works that he put together, published in different journals and different times, and all compiled together. I think actually by his son. And the piece that I want to focus on is called Zeronim, which really means seeds or scattering, like scattering seeds around. And the ideas here resonate with me on a very personal level, and I hope, in sharing and learning with you, maybe you too can find some answers, or at least an appreciation for Rav Kook and how he approaches many of the issues that the spiritually inclined find. This first vignette is called Tzama Lakel Chai, which really means thirsting for the living God. And he starts off by saying, any spiritual matter that you want to associate with has its root in Avira Elokai, probably translated best as the air of God. This is a deep Kabbalistic term, but it means like maybe as close to the essence of God as we can perceive. And we'll get back to that in just a moment, because what does that mean? We can perceive the essence of God. Isn't that not possible? So he actually says, he comments on that. But before we get there, he goes on saying that anything that you seek on spiritual levels, if you don't attach it or find its root in this kind of Avira Haloki, it's as if you're like a ship in a tempest, in a storm, pushing from one wave to the next wave and being thrown about. Maybe at times you'll find like a good, inspirational feel, but at other times you're going to have this low. And so you really can't find rest, but other than in God. Now, here lies the paradox that we mentioned before. How can we ever know God on any essential level? God is so beyond what we can conceive. God is the way I like to say it is, the God I believe in is the God that I don't understand. And so by definition, God is removed. So how does the spiritually inclined, the man of God, relate? And that is a paradox. We don't. We can't. But Rav Kook goes further, and he says there is an answer. That answer starts with finding God in aspects of the world. And where does he start? He says, look for God in and I'm just kind of reading out here, look for God's revelation within the world of the beauty, in the majesty, in the spirit, in the soul. Okay, you're not getting it yet? In every living creature that crawls, in every blade of grass that spurts out, in every flowering, flower, in every wave of the sea, in every like brush stroke of the clouds, in all the abilities to speak, to tell stories, to think up of deep concepts, to sing, as it were, to have complex ideas. All of that is starting to get at this idea of God. And when we can first recognize that, as if to say, when you can open yourself up to finding God, so then we can start to find an answer to our paradox. Once we can recognize God in the world, in all the details, that opens us up, that sensitizes us to perceiving God. So what God will do from time to time is show himself in all his pomp and circumstance, in that inspirational moment, a, a self-revelation, as it were. It's only a moment, like a lightning strike. And we have this, epiphany of how things fit together, only just momentarily. You see, ultimately, we can't reach up to God, so God reaches down to us. And when you habituate yourself, when you make this regular for who you are, you can then find that in the world, in everything. And so when this light comes, and I'm reading inside now, translating, that is so magnificent, so beyond, it starts to pull. When we can recognize, it will start to pull at us, as it were, and it pulls from the deepest place, the Or Haganuz, the hidden light that is within everyone. And through that revelation, as small as it is, it starts to draw, it starts to be pulled like a stream starting to flow. And then this is the flow of this light from on high. Ora or mimakom hayoter elyon, the light from the highest place, whatever that means. And the every world, as it were, is nothing but a revelation of just a spark of that. Every idea, every aspect, every mountain, every little blade of grass, every idea, every conversation that we have is all just a spark of that light. Now, the thing is, each one of these sparks in and of itself is actually a full revelation of that light just within its detail. And so, if you can see within those details that greater light, which is what is giving it its essence in the first place, then you can start recognizing God in a wider way in everything, and sensitizing yourself and being with it. And everything that you see will awaken with this life force that is happiness, that is salvation. And every good act that will cause the heart to sing, and everything that you learn to expand your mind, is part and parcel of all this. And it could even be those things that push us away, as it were, even maybe some of the negative things, as it were, when we look upon it with this idea of recognizing that spark within everything. So then we have a fuller realization that really everything is one. And we are able to, as it were, live in a bounded life force, full, recognizing the power and spirituality within everything. This is Rav Kook explaining. And just to quickly summarize, the spiritual individual will not find rest until he attaches himself to God, the greatest of all light. And the paradox is, how can we connect ourselves to God if he's so beyond? And so then we can solve that by seeking to recognize God in everything. And if we are able to recognize God in everything, then there will be moments where God will do more, and he will come from up above and influx into the world for us to be sensitive to this light, but maybe only for a moment. And that light that comes down into the world, we can see and find in every aspect in which it is, and in every detail in which it manifests, is actually a spark of that light that is being drawn down. And if we can find it in every aspect that is around us, then we will be able to be attuned to this spiritual light, and in truth thirst for that power, that life force of God we will find in everything. Rav Kook is something more than words can put to description. And I hope I've done Rav Kook at least a little bit of justice.